take a step back and look at the week overall. We've polled our analysts to get their take and have put together our all-tourney team of the Midseason Invitational group stage. So, starting in the top lane, we have RNG's Looper.
Yeah, so this was really just trying to decide who played the best in the group stage. And if that last game was an example, obviously both top laners played great, but Looper just seemed to be making some incredible plays. His TP timings this entire tournament were very good. In a tournament where top laners were having trouble getting to the team fights in the right time, and his laning was strong too. Yeah, that's what it was for me. So many top laners, Darshan, Duke, have team fought relatively well, but Looper's got the laning phase to go along with it, and for me, has been the all-star. This was really close. Darshan, for me, was incredibly close to getting this, but I had to give it to Looper.
All right, we move to the jungle. No surprise, we're going to find MLXG, this guy.
Spicy hot pot. Like, this guy plays everything. So many champions. And, you know, this is a worry because his Graves was great in Italy and Kindred, but he also has Elise in the Elise. Like, he just plays everything at such a high level.
Yeah, he's able to make the right decision in early game almost all the time. So that's his biggest strength, as well as being able to team fight on Lee Sin, which is a little bit impressive.
Yeah, I think the most incredible thing for me regarding him is how he has separated himself from the rest of the Nidalee in the tournament. Yeah. We're going to move to the mid lane. Xiaohu, more RNG.
Yeah, no surprises. They did go 8-2 in the group stage, almost 9-1, and both of those games that they lost were winnable. And Xiaohu was very close to me with Maple because they both played tremendously, but I had to give the edge to Xiaohu because he just seemed to have that extra gear, both on the Blanc and on Azir.
Yeah, and that's what it was to me, the Azir. I mean, we've seen so many Azirs picked up and it's won so many games, but Xiaohu just does things with that champions that are absolutely disgusting, to be honest. And we've seen him team fight, we see him generate picks. He's just a good young player.
In the ADC role, it's not just the analysts who think it, the players think it too. Stixxay.
Yeah, and I have to admit I was wrong, because I would not have called this beforehand. In fact, Stixxay, I probably would have put you towards the bottom half of this group. However, Stixxay has silenced all critics worldwide, not North America, not in China, just everyone in the world has to acknowledge that this guy is legit.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd be a liability, but I didn't think he'd have the performance he had here. Obviously, Stixxay himself credits the rest of his team, which is very true. Aphromoo plays range supports to give him advantages in the laning phase, and they TP very aggressively to protect the bottom lane, which other teams were attacking. But especially in that last G2 game, attacking him doesn't work very well, and they were ready for it every step of the way, so well-deserved on Stixxay to get this spot.
Yeah, the team makes the man. However, in our final position, the support, perhaps the man makes the team. Mata.
Yeah, this was another one that was really close between Aphromoo, but it's depending on what you value the most in the support role. And Mata was the initiator for a lot of these things, whereas Aphro was reacting to the initiations. And Mata was just world-class this entire time.
And that's what I'm going to say. Aphro will save you a game, Mata will win you a game. He is just so damn aggressive on every support pick he plays. And Aphro had some great plays against Faker. With that Janna, you know, he's got this deep range champion pool, but Mata for me, even without crediting, shot calling, all of that, just the individual play this guy brings to the Rift is so good.
Now that's just the alternate team for the group stage. Do you guys have a dark horse, an individual for the bracket stage that you think might be able to step up, challenge one of these guys in a role, and make a case for being the best in his position?
I've got a dark horse for you. A young man named Faker. He might be able to step up in a best of 5
who
against
is not
RNG.
On this list? There could be like a really good player.
Yeah, there might be
actually,
one.
that's a good point. Faker and Bang are suddenly an underdog story, which is a little bit peculiar, but that was obviously, I will defend every single one of those choices for who played best in the bracket stage, but that is not a list of who is the best players in the tournament. And Faker and Bang can absolutely come back. And when we do list our series MVP for the finals, there's a good chance it could still be Faker or Bang.
What about Maple? Someone on the Flash Wolves.
Yeah, I think Maple will show up regardless. I think the difference will be Karsa.
Okay.
Because I was expecting those guys to be a two-headed monster, and it's basically been Maple, and Karsa just kind of supporting him. I want Karsa to do his own thing and capitalize on Maple's pressure.
And I also think that if on the opposite end of that, if Xmithie beats Karsa out in the jungle and is able to make a deep push into the finals, that guy just needs so much credit. The evolution of Xmithie in the jungle role for CLG, I think, is like one of the most interesting stories of the last year.
Specifically in team fights, Xmithie is really showing up. Like, we only have so much time here, even though, thank goodness, we get to have a long analyst test segment here.
Do.
Every member on CLG actually deserves a whole ton of credit. Xmithie is one, but I also really do have to credit Darshan, because I thought he was actually the reason CLG was going to finish 5th, more than who he, in a sense. Because I did not expect him to be able to play tanks to the level that he has. He's lost the Poppy versus Echo matchup, which everyone has, but he's been able to come back in team fights. And the fact that he can now play Maokai, we have to remember, this guy didn't play tank all in the regular season. So I'm so impressed that he played tanks and CLG placed as the second best team in the world here.
Yeah, well, this without a doubt, this tournament has been littered with tremendous players. But now, with the group stages complete, let's see how the teams are arranged in the bracket one more time. China's RNG claimed the #1 seed and will battle Korea's SK Telecom T1 in our first best-of-5 semifinal clash. And on the other side of the bracket, it's North America's Counter Logic Gaming versus the LMS's Flash Wolves. We've done plenty of talking about these matchups, so moving forward, we will be bringing you those matches on Friday at 1:30 p.m. local time. That's 7:30 a.m. Central European Summer Time, or Thursday evening at 10:30 p.m. for our friends in the Pacific Daylight Time Zone. Before we close out the book on the round robin, let's check in with you guys and look at your favorite moments from the MSI 2016 group stage. First up, Vi Axis wrote in CLG beating SKT and the undefeated RNG. They put NA on the map for international events with those 2 wins.
Making North America great again, CLG at international stage. We'll see how they end up go.
I don't know how this one's gonna turn out, and that's insane. Looper, he's going low, but he chrono breaks back. A double kill for Hui, a kill for Hui. Oh, I can't believe it! A triple kill! That's gonna be the ace! Looper is down! CLG! Do you believe, Kobe?
Are you kidding me? They're gonna take down the undefeated team here at MSI!
That's also why Kobe can't be here. He's recovering from his call. No, he could have been. He can handle it. He was empowered by CLG.
We're just going to have to funnel water down his throat for the next 3 days so that he can recover for the bracket stages.
The power in that call.
It was great. No, I mean, it's tremendous. You could tell the the emotion, and that was the energy in of the building. I mean, everybody.
All the excitement for RNG when it lost in that team fight just went into Kobe's voice for like 15 seconds.
Honestly, that's what
silent after that play.
That's what I love about MSI. Like, you have me here talking about Chinese team fighting and the journey of RNG, but that call out of Kobe, like, that is a beautiful. That's a historical moment of legends there.
All right. Well, next up from @Angel Heaven, the solo kill on Faker by RNG's mid laner Xiao Hu on day 2.
Flash WE might just get the kill. Faker's running and out of mana. Flash. Shane's gonna land. There's the Q. There's the kill. Xiao Hu takes down Faker.
I think that's a moment where everyone in the world went, Xiao Hu is not a 17-year-old kid that used to play for a team that wore pandas on their jerseys. He's a legit superstar mid laner that is smashing the best player in the world.
Yeah. And that whole game, like, that was a preview of many great plays that he ended up making. There were so many times before the fight where he just instantly kill Faker, and then SKT would have to disengage straight off away.
Yeah, I mean, earlier today we saw things like the Azir, just amazing control with that champion, never missing a beat on the ultimates. I mean, when you talk about playing a champion with consistency, that's the player I'm looking at least in this tournament so far.
Yeah, Xiao Hu definitely looks like a superstar in the making with how young he is, with how this is his first glimpse at the international stage and the way he's stepping up, as well as having Mata to kind of, he's taught him how to think about League of Legends in a critical way and improve his play every single game, and he's doing it.
And that's the thing. To be able to play control mages in team fights, that's a good skill to have. To be able to play assassins in team fights, as well as not lose the ability to snowball lanes and things like that, it's a very difficult feat to be able to pull off on a consistent basis. Sure, you can have 1 or 2 great games, but he's had pretty much a solid 8
all the
games.
way through.
Yeah. All right, well, finally, @Obscurica tweeted, Flash Wolves beating SKT twice.
Yeah, this was a surprise as well. I love this. Maple was so hyped because he just died prior to this, and this was his ability to get one back. Really, Flash Wolves had the most controlled victories over SKT. Like, if anyone was their kryptonite in this tournament, it wasn't RNG, it wasn't CLG, it was Flash Wolves.
Yeah, and there's logic behind it, right? They're the best of the East and the West, I feel, the LMS region. They play the macro game like better than what the LPL does, at least, and then they still have the capability to be able to team fight if they do set up those deep. So I think that when LMS plays at 100%, they're a very scary region to go up against.
I think that's the thing I was going to turn to you for, Jat, was that, I mean, the LMS, the Flash Wolves that beat SKT, they're a scary team. But the last day or two, especially the games today, don't necessarily point to that same kind of team showing up against CLG.
I think they looked a little shaky, mainly because NL needed to step up, and I also want Karsa to step up. But to Spawn's point, like, they also can play great on the day. And I think I've been doing this for a while, that I still think Korea is going to win the international event. But you switch it up. This is as coin flippy as it's been in a really long time.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we can only hope the bracket stage brings just as much action. Now, on behalf of the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching Week 1 of the 2016 Midseason Invitational with us, and we'll see you next week.